Hi, this is Angie Nowak. It is August 22nd, 2014, and tonight is the second nightly review for the week intensive for the online MAC program. Today we were able to start out the day discussing Life of Pi, which was the video assignment that we had to watch before coming to the intensive. This was definitely interesting to me to be able to kind of debrief and see if other people in the group that I was in were able to pick up on, the underlying themes of the movie, which they were. So it was great that we were able to have conversation about the trauma that the main character suffered. And then, was he hallucinating? Was he compensating for the trauma that he had seen and that he had felt and that he had done, and kind of what that looked like in the movie for him to be able to maybe create this story and create this reality that was probably different from what actually happened, but it's what he could learn to live with and what he could actually address. So that was great to be able to talk about that with my group members. We actually ended up later on in the day talking about crisis and trauma, and I thought that related right back into that with the fact that the main character, Pi, suffered that crisis, and then I think it continued to be trauma in his life. Obviously, he was, out on the water for a year, and what that looked like is that sunk in for him dealing with that crisis and trauma. So that was interesting. So I'll kind of jump to that to talk a little bit about the crisis and trauma. It was very interesting. I think every person is coming into this program having suffered, crisis at different points in their life, and then the trauma of that, and how us as potential counselors have to be so careful about addressing that and dealing with that before we go into being licensed counselors, so we can address what we need to address, or not, projecting that or transferring that onto our patients. So that was interesting for me. One thing that it kind of brought up, we started talking about traumatic brain injuries, which is something that I had suffered at a younger age, and I did go to counseling for, and I feel that I have addressed in many ways, but I did start to feel the physical elements of that when they addressed it. It kind of caught me off guard, and I started to feel the blood rushing to my arms and to my legs, and that was very interesting for me because I do feel that I have addressed that. But after having felt that, I know that will be something that I bring up again when I go back to counseling for this program, to make sure that I have a hold on that and that I am addressing it and not letting it become trauma, that it was a crisis and it was something that happened, but that it does not continue to be trauma in my life. So that was just kind of a life application, I guess, that I picked up from crisis and trauma today. Some other things that we learned were some basic counseling skills, and then we were able to put those physically into role playing with partners today in our triads. This was uncomfortable and great and uncomfortable. I don't think anyone in my group loved being videotaped exactly. I don't love it right now, and I probably will never love being videotaped. But to be able to look back and, kind of see the things that I was doing that I didn't necessarily know I was doing or ever thought that I did with my body language and my facial expressions, having Dr. McLean sitting there the entire time, being not only physically supportive to us, but also giving us her amazing feedback, pros and cons. That was great. And with an online program, having that opportunity to be physically there is incredible. So that way, when I do look back at those videos in later on weeks, to be able to say, okay, this is the feedback that I am being given. This is, the critiques that I'm doing of myself, to make ourselves better, for sure. So it was exciting to not only learn those basic counseling skills, but then also to have that instant application of being in the triads. So that was great to be able to do that. I think that basically sums up. We also, one other thing we had talked about was critical thinking. This I think that throughout this intensive, throughout this program, critical thinking will be just such a reoccurring theme for all of us. Not only am I having to critically think and look at all sides being in this large group, but also just in the program in general and in life in general to be a critical thinker. So that was exciting. As well as we were able to do a project, kind of a team effort with this Lego building, which I did not play with Legos as a little girl, but it was exciting to see the physical application of us working as a team and us critically thinking and communicating to be able to put this together. And it was awesome not only to see us communicating as a cohort, because we know that we'll be such a support system for each other in the next 2.5 years, but also just to see the physical application of the team effort, not being able to use our hands, only being able to communicate verbally, and how that plays directly into the counseling field that we're going into, and being with clients and with families, and their communication to be able to just give us some other tools in our toolboxes to be able to use with them when we're doing some physical counseling later on. So I think I got a lot out of today. I'm incredibly exhausted. We went about 14 hours today with breaks, obviously, which was wonderful, but I am an incredibly extroverted person and I need some serious alone time to sleep and rejuvenate before tomorrow. But today was great. It was exciting. I love that actual application of being able to do some role playing. So it was wonderful. I will see you tomorrow morning and have a wonderful night.